So today, 3.5 years later, we have justice.
Now at 10.
Guilty in the mass shooting that shattered the state.
He was deliberate, intentional, and brutal in what he did to the people at King Soopers.
Destroyed, gutted, heartbroken are words that don't even begin to explain my emotions.
After 10 days of painful testimony and 6 hours of deliberations, a jury ruled the shooter was competent when he carried out a cold, calculating attack.
As the ultimate act of cowardice.
Ending the lives of 10 innocent people.
Nevin Stanisic, Kevin Mahoney, Trelona Bakoviak, Ricky Olds, Denny Stong, Lynn Murray, Terry Leiker, Jody Waters, Suzanne Fountain, and Eric Talley.
The shooter given 10 life sentences, plus more than 1,000 years in custody.
Her senseless murder has shattered our hearts.
My entire family will never be the same. Grief is permanent.
The news starts now.
Guilty on all counts. Finally, a finale in the tragedy that sent shockwaves through our community.
A Boulder jury rejected the gunman's insanity defense, taking less than a day to return with a guilty verdict, ensuring the gunman will spend the rest of his life in custody. In the packed Boulder courtroom today, it took the judge more than 15 minutes to read the entire verdict. The jury found the gunman guilty on all 10 counts of first-degree murder, 38 counts of attempted murder.
Minutes later, a judge sentenced him to 10 consecutive life sentences, plus an additional 1,334 years for each of the 38 attempted murder charges. After sentencing, the district attorney shared exactly how calculating the shooting was.
On March 21st, the day before, locations such as Safeway, Target, Petco, different places in Boulder that would have a large crowd, he had started to look at on his phone. He came in on Highway 93, and I would speculate that the first large public shopping center he hit was that King Soopers. And he drove past it once, drove into the neighborhood behind it, and then returned to carry out what I think of as the ultimate act of cowardice.
The last 3.5 years have been an emotional journey for the families of the victims, as the competency of the gunman was debated back and forth.
Today, though, it did come to a close.
Gabriella Vidal joins us now live in studio. And Gabby, you spoke with victims' families. What are they saying about this verdict?
Yeah, Michael and Karen, it was a very emotional day for all of these families. The families of these 10 victims that we've been covering since the beginning of this tragedy say they're feeling a sense of peace. Even though their loved ones are gone, they're resting easier knowing that at least now this gentleman will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Today, 3.5 years later, we have justice.
Justice for 10 families.
Life is not the same. Going to the grocery store is not the same because of this.
Who've leaned on each other and the Boulder community since their loved ones were killed at a mass shooting at the Table Mesa King Soopers.
In this moment, I feel peace. I also do feel sorrow. It's a bittersweet moment.
Erica Mahoney lost her father, Kevin Mahoney, in the shooting. Olivia McKenzie lost her mother, Lynn Murray.
When we found out that there was a verdict, we began to kind of shake and cry, and I didn't expect that. And I didn't expect to start crying as all of the officers lined the hallway for us, and it was a really powerful moment.
All the families who spoke out after the trial say they're grateful to the first responders who put their lives on the line to stop the violence, with Officer Eric Talley making the biggest sacrifice.
From the moment Eric and his fellow officers entered that store, no more loss of life occurred. This is the definition of selflessness and heroism, and its impact cannot be understated.
These families say it's the hard work of the district attorney's office that the gunman was finally held accountable for the lives he took.
They have worked tirelessly and so thoroughly on this case that any jury that was before them with the case that they presented would have had the same outcome, the same verdict.
They hope their fight for justice can lead to change in preventing a tragedy like this from happening again.
My hope is for my children and all the children that they don't have to grow up in a world with mass shootings. One thing I always think about is, sadly, it's too late for my dad, but it's not too late for others.
And these families also tell me that they couldn't have gone through this trial without the support from people in the Boulder community as well as around the world who've been following this case.
Just an incredibly emotional day in Boulder. Gabby, thank you for your reporting.